My company literally has one job. We help unfocused entrepreneurs stay consistent and focus on the right things. We've done it for 100 plus entrepreneurs. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what works to force yourself to do cold outreach. We're gonna go over everything, and I promise you this video is going to be the last video you need to start staying consistent in reaching out to your prospects. The first thing that I wanna talk about is the concept of friction. Now before you actually start moving on to all the tactics that I tell you about, want to remove as much friction as possible. This includes your CRM. Now, whether you're cold calling, cold emailing, cold DMing, whatever the hell it is, you want your CRM to be on point. Now, what we use at Compass is Close. The reason why we use Close is because of how fast the feedback loop is. Anything and everything when it comes to consistency has something to do with a feedback loop. The best feedback loops are the ones that reward the quickest, right? When you have a CRM that's quick to operate, that's easy to operate, you have minimized friction, your feedback loops are quick, and you can reach out to a bunch of clients very, very easily. Another way that you can minimize friction very easily is by having all your leads in a spreadsheet or in your CRM, wherever it is, laid out the night before. So you want to do all of this stuff. You want to do all the gathering, everything the night before you're actually doing outreach. And preferably if you're doing outreach every day, which you should be doing, you should do it every single night. That way, what you actually end up doing is you minimize what we call here at Compass decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is probably the biggest killer of businesses that we have seen personally, is that people just wait so long because they have multiplicity of choices to actually make a decision that will move their business forward. They actually either never end up making a decision, or they make so many decisions that the quality of their decisions goes down. So you want to make it as flowy as possible for you to actually start reaching out. So if it takes you 2-3 hours to get the CRM set up, if it takes you, like 30 minutes at the end of a night to actually get all your leads in one place, do that. That is extremely important because that's a long-term play. It reduces the decision fatigue every time you actually start doing outreach. Now, one thing that I found to work very well with a client that specifically did cold calling was actually leaving the dialer open, right? So when the dialer was left open, again, this reduced the decision fatigue so much that the client literally had absolutely nothing to do in the morning other than actually get to their dialer, right? You have it right in front of you. There's literally no decision you have to make. You don't even need to open the dialer. The second thing that you want to do is you want to remove elimination, okay? This is one of the most important things that every single entrepreneur forgets. Success isn't necessarily about what you do, it's also about what you don't do. That's actually the more important part of success. You want to remove every single other thing that is an outreach. And this might sound excessive, but this is literally the stage that a lot of business owners are at. All they need to do is scale their ads. They need to send those DMs. They need to send those emails. These are the only things that are bringing traffic to your business. These are your business. There is no need for you to build another funnel. There is no need for you to do research on a new outreach method. You stick to one outreach method and you keep on doing it again and again and again, and you have the same inputs that you do every single day. Another way you can very easily reduce decision fatigue is start in the morning, right? Early in the morning. Now, obviously, this is going to be a little bit strategic when it comes to cold calls because maybe business owners won't be up at 5 a.m. or whatever the time is that you're waking up. But in the morning, again, you have absolutely nothing else to do. If you start with cold calling, you're groggy, whatever the hell it is, you just get right into your outreach. The benefit of that is, again, it reduces decision fatigue to the maximum. Like you have absolutely nothing else that you're doing. No breakfast, no showering, no making your bed. You're just up and you're there, right? There's nothing to decide. It's just get and go. What this helps with is it actually creates momentum. Now I'm going to draw, again, you guys know how beautiful my paintings are. This is a slope right here. This is supposed to be a snowball. It looks like a squiggly line. But essentially the concept that you want to leverage here is the concept of momentum. If you don't have momentum when you're cold calling, you're basically fucked. Or if you're doing any type of cold outreach. The most tactical and practical way that you can actually implement this is never, and I'm going to write this out, NEVER, never ever in your entire life should you ever do scattered work, okay? This can apply to anything. If you're doing calls, right? Do not do one call here and then one call there and then take a break in between calls. Never do that. You want this effective momentum to work in your favor. When momentum works in your favor, your calls get better as they go on. Your DMs get better as they go on. You get into a flow with things. And once you actually get into a flow with things, you are on a roll. You don't stop. And that's another thing that I want to talk about, is that the best thing that's worked with our clients is doing at least 2 cabs. Now, I'll tell you what cabs are later on. So whenever you're doing cold outreach, you want to dedicate at least 2 cabs. A cab, essentially, for the purposes of this video, is a 1-hour block of time. It's a time blocking method that we use, but it leverages 24/7 accountability. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description. But essentially, we have our clients do at least 2 cabs straight of just outreach, like nothing else, no working on landing page, no nothing. So this equals 2 hours, right? 2 hours at a minimum. Preferably, we want it to be 4 hours. This is what a lot of the people that are higher up in the industry, for example, Alex Hormozi, says the first 4 hours of your day should go towards you just getting traffic. If you're under $1 million a year, and even if you're between 1 million and 3, because usually the problem there is traffic. And the thing is, you don't want to just set yourself up for a time frame, because it's easy to meander through the time. What you want to do is you want to set an actual number that you want to achieve. So if you have 100 messages, if you have 1,000 email, whatever the hell it is, right? 100 whatever, right? Or 200 whatever, or 300 whatever, you want to have this amount set. And just to compare this to something, just to drive the point home, when you're doing push-ups, right? Let's draw a man doing push-ups. That actually is one of my worst paintings. I was about to say better, but it's actually pretty crappy. When you have a man doing push-ups, you don't do one push-up and then you do, you wait a few minutes and then, you're doing another one. No, when you're actually doing a push-up or when you're going to the gym, you have a long section, right, where you're actually building progress in that set section of time. Now, this is very important because, again, it leverages momentum. You have nothing else that you're doing. And just when you look at it with a brain and a half, you realize how inefficient it would be for you to just do one push-up and then another push-up and just scatter it throughout the day. And ladies and gentlemen, the same inefficiency applies when you're doing cold outreach. And if you want the extreme tactic here, again, we actually have a way to implement this when it comes to cabs. So with cabs, like, our clients literally can't not focus on the thing that they committed to. So this applies in cabs. But if you don't have cabs, what you can do is you can commit to yourself that you won't get up until you do a certain amount of calls, right? You just want to commit to that. Once you commit to that, you sit in your chair, you cannot get up. Not for a coffee break, not for a, hey, got a sec, your phone's on do not disturb. You're just doing the outreach. I actually knew a dude who did a lot of money, right? More than, I think, $1 million a month. What he used to do, this is a little extreme, but he was making 100 grand just as a single person with his business, which is absolutely ridiculous. But he was doing outreach for maybe like 5-6 hours a day, right? And he used to literally have a belt and he used to tie himself to his chair. And he said he wouldn't get up until he made 200-300 cold calls. In this example, of course, we're using cold calls. This is what he used to do. So I'm just letting you know, while you're sitting in your chair, avoiding doing the real work, like the people that are actually successful, that are making, millions of dollars per month, are literally tying themselves to their chair so that they don't get the fuck up. But the thing for a lot of people is that they aren't used to doing hard things anyways. So a little like micro strategy here that you can implement is just do hard things throughout the day. Minimize the amount of dopamine that you're consuming. Like if you're scrolling on your phone, like right now, if you're having a little bit of a research run, that's what we like to call it as entrepreneurs, even though it's not research, it's mental masturbation. If you're having a little bit of research run, download the app ClearSpace, restrict yourself so that you can't use your apps and get to work. Eliminate everything else other than actually what you're meant to do to grow your business. Once you do that, I promise you, not only will your mind be conditioned to, again, stop doing easy things like cheap dopamine addictions, your mind will also be conditioned perfectly to do hard things, and then it won't be as hard for you to actually sit the fuck down and do the outreach. The reason why the morning thing works so well that I mentioned before is because you're not doing all these dopamine inducing exercises throughout the day. You're not having breakfast. You're not doing anything else that's enjoyable. Instead, you're getting right the fuck to work. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is more relevant to psychological pain association. Now, the thing is, cold outreach is so avoidable because it's painful. But the thing is, if you force yourself to psychologically view the alternative to reaching out to your prospects as more painful than the cold outreach, it makes it easier to do the cold outreach in the first place because, again, the association with pain in regards to not doing the action is greater than you actually doing the action. So I want you to truly rationalize what not reaching out to your prospects means for you. right? What will it yield for you within a year, within 2 years, within 5 years, right? I want you to write this out. Like, what will your life look like if there's no traffic coming into your business? Will you be homeless? Will you be in a rehab center? Will your family be homeless? When you visualize this, you understand that every DM that you don't send, every cold call that you don't make, every single video that you don't post, whatever the mechanism is that you're outreaching by, whatever the input is, every time you don't do that, you move closer to this negative perception that you have created, this negative avatar or this negative situation that you've created in your head on what will occur if you don't do said thing. So just to do a recap, you want there to be as minimal friction as possible. That's the first thing, right? So have a clean CRM, have your leads left out the night before. You want everything to be as smooth as possible. If possible, leave your dialer out so that you can actually just get right to calling, or leave your CRM out, whatever it is that you use to outreach, leave it out the night before so that as soon as you wake up the next morning, you can get straight to it. Second thing, you want to preferably just start straight in the morning and not take any breaks. You want to go for at least 2 hours straight when it comes to doing the outreach, and you want to eliminate literally everything else that isn't actually benefiting your business, which is just anything that doesn't actually get you traffic. Third thing is you want to have some sort of psychological pain association where you understand what will occur in the long run if you don't actually reach out to these people. That, I would say, is one of the most powerful tools here. When you actually understand the consequence of you not reaching out, the consequence of your business not succeeding in the long run, like, that is what truly motivates you. That, as a pain, is a much bigger motivation than any sort of pleasure. Last thing that I would like to say is, over time, when you're reaching out, again, it's just about repetitions, right? You get better over time. And then what used to be just, hateful, or what used to be painful because you kept getting rejected again and again and again, becomes more enjoyable over time. Right? You want to get to that stage, and at that stage you can coast, right? Or at that stage you can hire people. But don't make the mistake of hiring too early. I know a lot of people that get some VA or even get like full-on SDRs, and they don't actually have the money to afford them. And the worst thing is, like, they haven't done the repetitions themselves, so they don't actually understand what it takes to get traffic into the business. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And I think if you like this content, you're going to absolutely love this video that I recorded, and how you can do 3 months of work in 2 days.